Finally, I've gotten around to testing a 26-inch fat-wheeled e-bike. A lot of you have been requesting that. Normally I review just the 20-inch fat-wheeled e-bikes, but this one is a complete different story here. It's an absolute monster. It is the Gogo Best GF600. Why is it such a monster? Well, it's got a 1,000-watt motor in the rear hub. It rockets up climbs, and thanks to these extra wide, spongy tires, it really does handle even rough terrain like this quite well, climb up it really well, in fact better than my Trek Rail 5, which really surprised me. And with this bike we've got 7 Shimano gears, 160mm mechanical disc brakes, both front and rear from Zoom. The front shock gives us about 3 inches of travel. You can also lock it out. We have a large display, up to 5 different pedal assist levels. The maximum speed this can go up to is around about 41 kilometers per hour, or if it is limited, then it's 25 kilometers per hour. The battery bank here is external and the controller. So this battery is 13 amp hours, and it should give us a range they claim of up to 110 kilometers, which I will be putting to the test. I'll do my climb test, braking test. I'll let you know exactly how it rides and why I'm so shocked about this bike's climbing performance. Now I just love these huge tires on it. 26-inch rims, but the tires are 4 inches wide, however around about 3.5 or so inches tall, making the overall diameter very close to that of a 29-inch bike. Now these tires run a ridiculously low pressure in them. Only 20 psi is the maximum you can put in them, but I'm running 15, which is just fine. And that allows these tires to soak up any minor little bumps. It gives us more traction, more grip, makes the ride a little bit more softer, and they are meant to be quite puncture resistant to these tires, which is an added bonus. Our front crank here, this has 52 teeth. The pedals are made out of metal, and a very standard Shimano tourney here, 7-speed. That's entry-level gears that are on this bike. The seat is quite a large one. It's wide, it's got good padding, but it does not have a reflector or a rear tail light. So the front shock here has a reasonable amount of travel, as you can see, up to about here, which I've calculated to be 3 inches, maybe a little bit over of travel. It is lockable, so if you flick this, you can completely lock it out, and we do have a powerful 4 LED headlight with this. So when you're riding at night, it's bright enough to light up the path ahead of you so you can ride safely. The frame does have your standard drink holder mounting point with it. The controller of the bike is located in this box right here, so it's all external. There is some internal cable routing, which is good, and the battery located here. There is a main on and off switch. This battery is 13 amp hours, and we do have a little gauge built into it. You press that and you can see the remaining level, which is handy if you're charging it, if you've got one inside, and you can remove it from the frame. So it comes with 2 keys, and you just simply turn that, and then you can pop that out and remove the whole battery. We do have some nice wide handlebars, and on the left here you'll find our controls. So this is M to power it on. This is up and down the pedal assist level, so 0 to 5. 0 lets us use the accelerator, and then the grips here, these ones, they're not lock grips, but they are not going anywhere, which is good. This is our twist accelerator, so if you are in mode 0, and you twist this, it will just take off. So you do have to be careful with that. This is to go up the gears, down the gears, and our front brake lever. The screen on this is an S700. It is very clear. We've got our speed, battery gauge right here, the pedal assist levels, odometer, time, trip meter is there, and the screen is backlit. So that means you can make it out when riding at night, which is good. So what is this bike like to ride? Well, you can see I've got ample room for my knees, nice wide handlebar, upright riding position. It feels very similar, the geometry and the size of this frame, to my Trek Rail 5 that I own as my main bike. Now that speed sensor, it's not a torque sensor it has, but a speed sensor. As soon as I start to pedal, it kicks in really quick, not like some other e-bikes that there's quite a bit of delay. No, it doesn't happen with the GF600. And it just rockets off. There's so much power, 1,000 watts on tap. Now the other thing to point out with these tires, because they are so large, we've got almost a diameter of around about, I think it's about 28 inches or so, so almost a 29er really, the diameter of these tires, and it's so great for getting a decent, good top speed. Now, if I pedal really hard, I'm not even in the highest gear here, I can easily get over 32, 34, even up to 35 kilometers per hour. So top speed is excellent, thanks to the gearing and mostly because of the large diameter wheels. Now, if you use pedal assist level 0, and I'm riding here, I've got no pedal assist whatsoever, but that does enable this right here, which is the twist accelerator. So I can use that, start to ride. So if I'm feeling a bit tired, I want to boost, I can just accelerate with that. I'm getting that full 1000 watt motor power too, up to unlimited 41 kilometers per hour. And I'm here now at my climb point. So this is approximately 25-30 degree climb. It is steep, and that speed sensor really good on detecting when I'm pedaling. If I stop, you hear it cut out the motor, and as soon as I start to pedal a little, it then detects that straight away, and it's giving me that power that I need. So I'm in pedal assist level number 2, and I can comfortably go up this because it's just got so much power. So I can even go up gears. I'm in the 2nd gear now. By the way, the shifts of the Shimano that it's got, 7-speed, really good, nice and crisp, smooth changes, no grating of gears. So that's pedal assist level 2. What about 5? So 5, I can even give it a little bit more and start to climb up this effortlessly. I'm not even really working up a sweat. Now, what would happen if I put it into the lowest gear now and completely turn off that motor? So 0. Oh, can you feel it straight away? That's really hard going. Wow, you don't want to be doing any big climbs without that motor. It is possible, but really, you have to really work hard, dig deep, because this is a heavy bike, 28 kilos. Braking performance now at 30 kilometers per hour from this post here. Actually, for mechanical disc brakes, we do have really good brakes on this. So they are zoom brakes, and they do have quite good pads that really grip and bite into those discs. Another braking test at 45. That took a little bit longer as expected because I was riding a lot faster, but still good brakes on this. If I wanted to upgrade something, I might put hydraulics on this, but I don't really feel like I need to. They're not making lots of noise either, these brakes, which is really good. So I have quite a steep drop ahead. Let's see how these big fat tires are going to handle it. Should be okay. Oh, not too bad. And let's have a look at how the bike climbs up now. Bit of a technical rocky trail that I normally tackle with a 29-inch. It's actually doing a really good job at this. Wow, a lot better than I thought, thanks to these extra wide fat tires. And they are just soaking all of this up. I'm only running about 18 psi, 15. 20 is the max you can put on these tires, and unbelievable, look at this. I'm climbing as good as I would on my Trek. This is so good. The climbing performance because of these tires. Wow, I am absolutely blown away. And now to go down all of these trails here, down to the coast, see how it does perform. So far, going down these trails, very rough, the bike is handling it really well here, just soaking up everything, those tires. The front suspension doesn't really seem to be doing that much. It is only giving me about 2 to 3 inches of travel. So I survived going down that trail. It was a little bit rough going, but it did pretty good considering what type of bike this is. It's not full suspension, hardtail, but it was those tires, they're soaking up all of those bumps. And then the range. So we do have quite a large battery, 13 amp hours. A lot of the other bikes I review are only 10 amp hours. It's actually quite good thanks to the larger diameter wheels. So the diameter of these wheels in total, even though it's 26-inch rims, when you factor in the height of these big large tires, it's almost, well, around about 28 inches or slightly over. And that means for every 10%, I'm seeing around 7 kilometers, sometimes 8. So my range is about 70 to 80 kilometers that I'm able to get out of this particular bike. Of course, the more you ride at higher speeds when you're not actually using the motor, if you've limited the speed to 25, that is, you won't even be touching that at all. So the range, of course, is going to vary on how many climbs you have. But overall, I'm quite impressed with the range of it. It's not 110, which is their claim. I think to get 110, you'd have to be lighter than me. I'm about 82 kilos at the moment. You'd have to probably weigh about 70, 65 and be riding then on the flat and probably the lowest power level to achieve that. So I'm really shocked about how well this bike climbs. It rockets up these trails. So that clip I showed you of me climbing just around here, I went up that pretty much as good, if not better than I would have with my Trek Rail 5, which is a bike that costs more than four times this particular bike right here. So that's impressive. But of course, it doesn't have the frame and the quality of my Trek Rail or the brakes or the suspension. That's a full suspension bike. It's a complete different kind of bike here, but still, this is an absolute monster with the climbs thanks to the 1000-watt motor. Top speed is also very good. Once you get it into the 7th gear, riding along, I can happily cruise doing about 35 kilometers per hour, and that's great. A lot of these bikes that I do review, they have poor top speed, but I don't run into that issue at all with it. Now, nothing really seems to rattle on the bike until you go over some really rough terrain. Sometimes that chain will rattle around, and it has come off on me once over some really rocky bits. Now, because these fat tires, you only run, well, maximum PSI that you can run in these is only 20 PSI, which is next to nothing. They're super spongy. They just go over everything so well. You're just bouncing along, and I love the road noise they make, and it adds to that ride comfort. So I really want to start to review more 26-inch fat-wheeled e-bikes because I absolutely love this bike. I think it is fantastic. The screen is really good. It's nice and clear. The front shock gives us about 2.5 to 3 inches of travel. The brakes for mechanical disc brakes, they aren't actually too bad. So what does it come down to cons then about this bike? What don't I like about it? Well, not a lot really. I think the battery pack on the outside and then the controller is a little bit ugly. And yes, it is a monster of a bike. It's about 28 kilos. I mean, the battery itself weighs 3.5 kilos. So it's normal it's going to be a heavy bike there. But that's about it. It actually rides so much better than it looks. It's very comfortable. It's a large frame. Probably not a bike for everyone, but if you're about my height, 182 centimeters, even a bit higher, and even about 170, this would still be a good bike for you. I've really enjoyed my time testing it out. It's an absolute blast to ride. So thank you so much for watching my review here of the Gogo Best GF600, a bike that has really surprised me.